On the day Lu Tingshan's first love Song Zai returned to the country after their divorce, he did something unprecedented. He didn't come home. At 4 in the morning I found a signed divorce agreement in his study. He had been waiting for me to speak first. Back when his mother offered me 5 million to leave, I refused. Now I've changed my mind. At 6 in the morning I knocked on my mother-in-law's door and raised the offer to 10 million. 10 minutes later the entire Lu family was in an uproar in the villa district of Shurani, Beijing. The sky hadn't fully brightened at 6. I stood at my mother-in-law Zhao Yufan's bedroom door, holding a folded piece of paper in my hand and taking a deep breath. 2 years ago, when she slapped a 5 million check in front of me and told me to leave Lu Tingshan, I didn't take it. Today I wanted her to know that that check had expired. I raised my hand and knocked 3 times. Who? Zhao Yufan's voice came from inside, laced with morning grumpiness. Mom, it's me. 3 seconds of silence. Come in. I pushed the door open. Zhao Yufan was propped up against the headboard, wrapped tightly in a silk robe. A cup of ginseng tea steamed on the bedside table. Nurse Zhong stood beside her, holding a tray. So early, what is it? Zhao Yufan lifted the ginseng tea to her lips, took a sip, and didn't even look at me. I walked to the foot of her bed and put the paper in my hand on the bedside table, sliding it under the ginseng teacup. Mom, you told me back then you'd give me 5 million to make me leave Tingshan. Zhao Yufan's hand paused, the teacup clicked crisply against the saucer. She finally looked up at me, her gaze cold through and through. I've thought it through, I said. But 5 million isn't enough, I want 10 million. The tray in Sister Zhong's hands nearly slipped. She flustered to steady it, lowered her head and backed into the corner. Zhao Yufan set down the ginseng tea, picked up the paper and glanced at it. The 4 big characters divorce agreement were printed at the top. Her face went white in an instant, then flushed red and finally turned ashen. Su Wanqing, are you crazy? I'm not crazy, Mom, I'm perfectly clear-headed. 10 million. Zhao Yufan threw the agreement onto the bed. Who do you think you are? You married into the Lu family 2 years ago. Every bit of your food, clothing, and expenses came from the Lu family. You're worth 10 million. Whether I'm worth 10 million isn't for you to decide. I took an envelope from my bag and placed it on the bed. This is a copy of the 500,000 check you gave me 2 years ago, and the transfer records. You asked me to leave Tingshan back then, and I didn't go. Now I'm leaving on my own and asking for a higher price. That's not unreasonable, is it? Zhao Yufan picked up the envelope and glanced at it. Her expression changed. She hadn't expected I'd kept those things. Su Wanqing, this is extortion. Mom, extortion is illegal. I smiled. This is negotiation. If you disagree, we can talk it over slowly, but there's one thing I need to tell you in advance. Suddenly the sound of a car engine came from outside. Zhao Yufan's expression changed. She threw off the quilt, got out of bed, hurried to the window and pulled back a corner of the curtain to look down. I saw it too. Lu Tingshan's black Maybach was parked at the garage door. The car door opened. He got out from the driver's seat first, walked around to the passenger side, opened the door and reached out to help a woman out of the car. The woman wore a white trench coat, her long hair over her shoulders, and a pair of nude high heels on her feet. From 2 floors away I couldn't make out her face, but that figure, that way of walking, I had seen it countless times on Lu Tingshan's phone. Song Zai. Zhao Yufan snapped the curtains shut, turned to look at me, and for the first time a hint of panic appeared in her eyes. Wanqing, listen to me. Mom, don't worry. I picked the divorce agreement up from the bed and put it back on the bedside table. I told you, I only want the money. Who he brings home is none of my business. I turned and walked out. From behind came Zhao Yufan's voice. Su Wanqing, stop right there. I didn't stop. I walked out the door and down the hall toward the stairwell, passing the 2nd floor corner. I glanced down through the window. Lu Tingshan and Song Zai had already gone into the living room. Song Zai was sitting on the sofa and Lu Tingshan stood beside her, leaning over to pour her a drink. That image felt like a needle thrust into my eye, but I held back. When I married Lu Tingshan 2 years ago, everyone said I was marrying up. A designer marrying a tech titan, Cinderella marrying into a wealthy family. Zhao Yufan offered 5 million for me to leave, and I refused. Not because I loved Lu Tingshan that much, but because I felt it wasn't worth it. 5 million to try to buy me off, which of Su Wanqing's design works wasn't billed in the tens of millions. When I went downstairs, the atmosphere in the living room had already frozen. Lu Tingshan looked up when he heard footsteps. The instant he saw me, his expression shifted from gentle to stiff. He was wearing yesterday's dark grey suit, 2 buttons of his shirt collar undone, his hair a bit messy and noticeable dark circles under his eyes. Wanqing, he called my name, deliberately keeping his voice calm. There was an unexpected meeting at the company last night. We were in session all night. I sat down opposite him and glanced at Song Zai. And who is she? Song Zai lifted her head. She was very beautiful, even more so than in the photos, an oval face, willow leaf brows, skin glowing white, sitting on the sofa in the Liu family living room like a meticulous painting. The way she looked at me carried scrutiny with a faint, almost imperceptible hint of provocation. I am Song Zai, she spoke first, her voice very soft. An old friend of Tingshan. Oh, I nodded. An old friend of Tingshan, seems I haven't met you before. Lu Tingshan's expression changed. Wanqing, don't overthink it. Zai just returned to the country. I went to pick her up at the airport last night and it was too late to come back. So where did you sleep? I asked. The living room was so quiet I could hear the crackle of wood burning in the fireplace. Zhong, the housekeeper, was hiding at the kitchen doorway, eavesdropping and not daring to make a sound. From upstairs came Zhao Yufan's hurried footsteps as she was coming down. Lu Tingshan clenched his fists, his knuckles white. Su. Wanqing, what do you mean by that? Nothing. I stood up. I just wanted to tell you I made a deal with Mom this morning. If you have time, you can go upstairs and look at the agreement. What agreement? Lu Tingshan stepped forward and grabbed my wrist, his grip strong, his nails digging into my skin. I glanced down at his hand, then looked up at him. The divorce agreement. The living room exploded. Lu Tingshan's hand loosened. He took a step back and the expression on his face shifted from anger to shock, then from shock to something I couldn't read. Not pain. Not reluctance but fear. You're asking for a divorce? He asked, his voice suddenly dropping. Yes, I said. I've already discussed the terms with your mother. 10 million, I sign and walk away. 10 million. Lu Tingshan suddenly laughed, a harsh, ugly sound. Su Wanqing, are you out of your mind? Back then your mother offered you 5 million and you refused, now you want 10. Inflation. I said. You. Enough. Zhao Yufan came down the stairs, her face livid. All of you, shut up. She walked to the center of the living room, glanced at me, then at Song Zai, and finally fixed her gaze on Lu Tingshan. Lu Tingshan, explain this to me clearly. Who is this woman? Mom. Lu Tingshan's tone softened instantly. This is Zai, the Song family's daughter, the one you know. I know the Song family's daughter, not Song Zai who came back divorced. Zhao Yufan's voice was as sharp as a knife. Do you think the Liu family's reputation hasn't been tarnished enough? If your father were still alive, he would be driven to death by you. Song Zai stood up, her face turning pale. Auntie, please don't misunderstand. I only came for what? Zhao Yufan turned to look at her, her gaze like two blades. I don't care who you claim to be. The Liu family has its own rules. Tingshan is a married man. This household is not for outsiders to take a seat. Song Zai's eyes instantly reddened. She glanced at Lu Tingshan, and the hurt and dependence in that look were played to perfection. Lu Tingshan really took the bait. Mom, don't talk to Zai like that. What happens between her and me is none of your business. None of my business. Zhao Yufan sneered. You're a son of the Liu family. You're disgraceful to the Liu family. No matter what Su Wanqing is like, she's still your legally wedded wife. You're out having affairs like this. Who do you think you're doing right by? I watched this whole scene, the corners of my mouth lifting slightly. Zhao Yufan wasn't defending me, she was defending the Liu family's dignity. The news that Song Zai had divorced and returned to the country had long since spread through the circles. A divorced woman, in their eyes, was worth less than even me, a socially climbing designer. Enough, I said, interrupting the farce. You can keep arguing. I'm going upstairs first. Stop, Lu Tingshan called after me. Su Wanqing, handle the divorce with me. Don't go to my mother. Handle it with you. I glanced back at him. You didn't even come home last night. Who am I supposed to talk to? Your old friend, Lu. Tingshan's face flushed dark red. He strode up to me and lowered his voice. Do you have to make a scene in front of so many people? I'm not making a scene, I said. I'm calm. 10 million, you sign, I leave. Who you choose to be with is none of my business. You think you're worth 10 million. The moment that sentence was spoken, everyone in the living room froze. I looked at Lu Tingshan. He looked at me, his eyes full of contempt and impatience, like he was looking at something worn out and ready to be thrown away. Su Wanqing, you've been married into the Liu family for 2 years. What you eat, wear, or use hasn't come from the Liu family. What do you have? Have you ever earned a single cent? Are you worth 10 million? Lu Tingshan, you think I'm not worth 10 million? You aren't even worth 1 million, he said. If it weren't for me, you'd still be at that lousy design institute drafting plans, making $20,000 a month. I took my phone out of my bag, opened a folder and turned the screen toward him. Look at this, then tell me whether I'm worth 10 million. Lu Tingshan lowered his head to look at the screen. 3 seconds later, his expression changed. It was a surveillance video. In the footage, Lu Tingshan appeared at the door of my studio at 2 in the morning, used a key to enter, sat at my computer for 40 minutes and copied all the design drawings onto a USB drive. The timestamp in the upper left corner of the video was crystal clear. 3 months ago. He looked up, the contempt in his eyes gone, replaced by fear. Lu Tingshan, 10 million. To buy your reputation for not plagiarizing my design. It's not expensive, right? I put my phone away. I'll give you 3 days to decide. After 3 days, either you pay me and I delete this recording, or I hand these materials to the industry association and the media, your choice. I turned and went upstairs, Zhao Yufan's scream and Lu Tingshan's roar echoing behind me. When I reached the second floor landing, my phone buzzed. It was a message from my partner Lin Wei. Wenqing, I found out Lu Tingshan didn't just steal your design, he changed the name on your plan and sold it to Song Zai's company. Also, Song Zai had been involved with Lu Tingshan before her divorce, at least 2 years. I turned off my phone and leaned against the wall. 2 years. Lu Tingshan was married to me for 2 years and he had been involved with Song Zai for at least 2 years. In other words, when he was pursuing me, even when we got married, he had never stopped seeing Song Zai. This marriage, from beginning to end, was a setup, and I intend to smash this setup to pieces in my own way. I stayed in the bedroom until 11 in the morning, until the housekeeper Sister Zhong came to knock and said Zhao Yufan had asked everyone to go to the dining room. Madam, the matriarch said you must come downstairs. Sister Zhong stood in the doorway, eyes darting, not daring to look at me. I changed my clothes and went downstairs. The dining room was full of people. Zhao Yufan sat at the head of the table. Lu Tingshan sat to her right, his complexion ashen and dead-looking. Song Zai was not there. She had probably been driven off by Zhao Yufan. Lu Tingshan's assistant, Secretary Chen, stood in a corner holding a briefcase, his expression grim. Sit. Zhao Yufan pointed to the chair opposite, her tone like she was ordering a servant. I sat down, waiting for her to speak. Su Wanqing, the video you mentioned, I watched it. Zhao Yufan's voice was very low, as if suppressing anger. How much do you want? Give me a number. Mom, I told you 10 million. What about the recording? The recording is another matter. Zhao Yufan's face twitched. What exactly do you want? I want justice. I looked at Lu Tingshan. Lu Tingshan, you stole my design proposal and sold it to Song Zai's company. That proposal took me 8 months to complete. The design fee alone is worth 8 million. Tell me, am I not worth 10 million? Lu Tingshan didn't say anything. He kept his head down, not daring to look at me or at his mother. Su Wanqing, don't go too far. Zhao Yufan slapped the table. You're a daughter-in-law of the Lu family. Your design plan belongs to the Lu family. What's wrong with Tingshan using it? I smiled. Mom, that's an interesting thing to say. My design plan belongs to the Lu family, then do my design qualifications, my industry contacts and my client resources also belong to the Lu family. You, Ms. Zhao, I cut her off, no longer calling her mom. Let me remind you of something. Before I married Lu Tingshan, I signed a prenuptial agreement. And it plainly states, my personal intellectual property and design works belong to me personally. Lu Tingshan's use of my design plan without my permission is an infringement. Zhao Yufan went pale. You, how did you know that was written in the agreement? Because that agreement was reviewed by my lawyer. I stood up. Ms. Zhao, do you think I didn't do my homework before marrying into the Lu family? The dining room was so quiet you could hear breaths. Lu Tingshan suddenly looked up at me, the fear in his eyes even deeper. Su Wanqing, were you scheming against me from the very beginning? Scheming against you? I looked at him. Lu Tingshan, why did you marry me? For my design proposals, for my industry connections, for having me work for you for free? You schemed against me for 2 years. I was only protecting myself. Lu Tingshan sprang to his feet, the chair tipping back and crashing onto the floor with a loud bang. Su Wanqing, you, what? I stood frozen, staring at him. You want to lay a hand on me? Go ahead, hit me. After you beat me, I'll call the police, add the charge of domestic violence, and you won't even have the right to negotiate. Lu Tingshan clenched his fists, his knuckles white, his chest heaving violently. He panted and glared at me like a trapped beast, wanting to bite but too afraid. That's enough. Zhao Yufan stood up and grabbed Lu Tingshan's arm. Tingshan, sit down. Lu Tingshan did not move. I told you to sit down. Zhao Yufan pulled him hard. Lu Tingshan was jolted a step and plopped back into the chair. He lowered his head, shoulders shaking. Zhao Yufan took a deep breath, turned to me and forced a smile onto her face. That smile looked worse than crying. Wanqing, what can a family not say properly? You delete the recording first, and we can discuss the money matters. Ms. Zhao, I've made myself very clear, 10 million and I'll sign and walk away. As for the video, that's a separate price. How much more? 20 million. Zhao Yufan's smile froze on her face. Su Wanqing, you. Lu Tingshan tried to stand again but was held down by Zhao Yufan. 30 million. Zhao Yufan's voice trembled. You want 30 million? It's not 30 million. I held up 3 fingers. 3 demands: first, 10 million as divorce compensation; second, 20 million as infringement damages; third. I paused and looked at Lu Tingshan. Third, you must publicly apologize at the industry association and admit that you stole my design proposal. Lu Tingshan's face went completely white. Impossible, he said, his voice hoarse like sandpaper grinding his throat. I can't publicly apologize. Then see you in court. I turned and walked out of the dining hall. Stand where you are. Lu Tingshan charged over to stop me, blocking the doorway to the restaurant. Su Wanqing, if you dare to hand those things over, I'll make sure you can't survive in the design industry. You want to make me unable to survive? I looked at him. Lu Tingshan, have you forgotten that my name is ranked No. 1 in the China region on the Pulitzer Prize nominations list? You who deal in capital operations, what can you do to make me unable to survive? Lu Tingshan's lips trembled. He couldn't utter a single word. Move, I said. He didn't move. I'm telling you to move. He still didn't move. I took my phone out of my bag, pressed 3 keys and held the screen up to him. The screen showed an outgoing call, 110. Lu Tingshan stepped aside. I walked out of the restaurant, crossed the corridor and headed for the front door. When I reached the entrance, Zhao Yufan came running after me. Su Wanqing, she called out to me, her voice breaking with sobs. You can't do this. We're a family. A family. I looked back at her. Miss Zhao, when you paid me 5 million to make me leave 2 years ago, why didn't you say we were a family? When your son plagiarized my design, why didn't you say we were a family? Zhao Yufan's lips trembled and tears fell with a plop plop sound. Wanqing, I'm begging you. Tingshan was just confused for a moment. Confused for a moment. I pulled up a recording on my phone and pressed play. Lu Tingshan's voice came through the recording, sharp as a knife. Change the name on her design proposal and sell it to Song Zai's company. Anyway, she's just sitting at home with nothing to do. Drawing a few plans is nothing. The recording finished playing. Zhao Yufan's face looked as if she'd been slapped. This is the recording of the call he made with my partner a year ago. I put my phone away. Ms. Zhao, your son wasn't merely confused, he was calculating me from start to finish. I turned and walked out the front door, got into the car and closed the door. The moment the engine started, I saw through the rearview mirror Zhao Yufan slumped on the steps by the door, and Lu Tingshan rushing out to support her. My phone rang. It was Lu Tingshan's number. I took the call and said nothing. Su Wanqing. His voice was hoarse as if he'd been crying. What on earth do you want? I said it. 3 things. Do them and I'll delete everything and sign away. If you don't, see you in court. I can't publicly apologize. He paused. You know what that would mean? My company, my investors, my partners, if they knew I plagiarized, it would be over. That's your business. Su Wanqing. His voice suddenly rose. Don't push me, Lu Tingshan. When you copied my plan to sell to others, did you ever think there would be a day like today? There was a long silence on the other end of the line. All right, he finally spoke. I agree, but you must give me time. 3 days. Too short. At least a week. 3 days. After 3 days, either you do it or I make everything public. I hung up and tossed my phone onto the passenger seat. The car got onto the airport expressway and I headed toward the city. My phone vibrated again. This time it was Lin Wei. Wanqing, something happened. Lin Wei's voice was urgent. Lu Tingshan went ahead of you and reported you to the Industry Association for plagiarism. What is it? He reported that you plagiarized Song Zai's design. Song Zai has already prepared the so-called original manuscript, claiming your design was copied from hers. I tightened my grip on the steering wheel, my nails digging into the leather. They also released news that Su Wanqing's Pulitzer-nominated work is plagiarized as well. The industry is already buzzing. When was Song Zai's manuscript? The marked date is 2 years ago, 6 months earlier than your plan. Impossible, I said. I started that project 3 Years ago, all the process drafts have timestamps, I know, but Song Zai handled it very professionally. The aging of the paper and the ink oxidation were done flawlessly. Without a handwriting expert, you can't tell just by appearance. I take a deep breath. Arrange a handwriting expert for me, the most authoritative one. Okay, and one more thing. Lin Wei lowered her voice. Deep Blue Technologies stock opened down 12% today. Someone is shorting it. Who? Found it. The short selling account comes from Hong Kong, backed by Dingxing Capital. The founder of Dingxing is Jiyu Huarian. Jiyu Huarian, I know him, his Lu Tingxin's arch rival. The two have gone head-to-head on 3 projects each time. Jiyu Huarian manages to snatch the fattest slice of profit from Lu Tingxin. Set up a meeting with Jiyu Huarian for me. Are you sure? Sure. The enemy of my enemy is a friend. I hung up the phone, turned the steering wheel, and the car veered onto the side road. In the rearview mirror, a black sedan followed me in. I sped up, it sped up. I changed lanes, it changed lanes. Someone is following me. I took out my phone and dialed 110. Hello, I'd like to report to the police. Someone is following me. The license plate number is. I gave the license plate number of that car. 10 minutes later, the traffic police stopped that car at the exit ahead. I slowed down as I passed and glanced over. The window rolled down and I recognized the person inside, Lu Tingxin's driver. Old Jew Lu Tingxin, you really will stop at nothing. By the time I finished giving my statement at the police station, it was already 3 in the afternoon. After Old Jew was stopped, the traffic police found a tracker and a camera in his car. Old Jew said, Mr. Lu told me to follow the lady to protect her safety. The officer asked me, do you know this person? Yes, my husband's driver. Should we file a case? I thought for a moment. Don't file a case yet, just take my statement and record it. It's not that I don't want to file a case, it's that it's too early to file one now. I need to keep all the cards in my hand and play them together at the most critical moment. After leaving the police station, my phone was almost blowing up. Lu Tingxin had called 17 times, Zhao Yufan 8 times, and there were more than 20 other unknown numbers, probably reporters. I didn't answer a single one. I drove to Jinga Design's office. The company is in an office building on the East 3rd Ring, a 700 square meter space with the walls hung with my design works from over the years. On the reception wall a phrase was carved in metal letters, architecture is frozen music. Lin Wei was waiting for me at the door. Wanqing, it's not looking good. She followed me into the office and closed the door. The industry association has already received a complaint letter, demanding that you submit defense materials within a week. If they're found to have plagiarized, your Pritzker nomination will be revoked. What about Song Zai? Her legal team has released a statement saying the lawsuit documents are ready and they'll file in court next Monday. I sat down, opened my laptop and pulled up the folder with that design proposal. The proposal is called Yunqi, a mixed-use commercial complex in Hangzhou. I started the concept design 3 years ago, revised it over 40 times, and the final version took 8 months. All the drafts, revision logs, and timestamps are in that folder. Print all of these out and bind them into a volume. I told Lin Wei. Also get in touch with the Handwriting Forensics Center at the Chinese Academy of Sciences. I want the most authoritative appraisal. Okay, but Lin Wei hesitated. Song Zai's side has put out word that they've already contacted an appraisal agency, and the result is highly likely. Which agency did they contact? The Forensics Center at Huazheng. I sneered. Huazheng, notorious in the industry for producing reports for money. Let them jump. The higher they jump, the harder they'll fall. After Lin Wei left, I opened my phone and pulled up Song Zai's WeChat. I hadn't added her as a friend, but I'd seen her WeChat ID on Lu Tingxin's phone. I took screenshots of her profile picture and moments, nothing but serene, well-lived photos, drinking coffee, arranging flowers, visiting art exhibitions, exactly the persona of an independent woman. I exited her moments, opened another person's chat window, Jiyu Huaiyan. I didn't have his WeChat, but Lin Wei had already pushed his assistant's WeChat to me. I added the contact and sent a message. Su Wanqing would like to arrange a meeting with President Jiyu. The other party replied immediately. President Jiyu says tonight at 7, Kunlun Hotel. I replied okay. Put down your phone. The office door was pushed open by someone. Lu Tingxin stood at the doorway, his suit jacket gone, the shirt sleeves rolled up to his elbows, the tie hanging loosely around his neck. His eyes were red, not sure if from crying or staying up late. How did you get in? I asked. The front desk knows me. He stepped in, slamming the door shut behind him. Su Wanqing, we need to talk. About what? We need to talk about you calling the police. He came to my desk, planted both hands on the surface and leaned over me. You had the traffic cops arrest my man. Do you know what that means for me? It means your driver broke the law. I leaned against the back of the chair and looked at him. Lu Tingshan, you sent people to follow me and now you have the nerve to complain. I didn't send people to follow you. I told Laro Ju to protect you. Protect me with trackers and cameras. Lu Tingshan's face twitched. Su Wanqing, what exactly do you want? Name your terms and I'll agree, but can you not make a big scene? I already set terms, 3 things, did you do them? Publicly apologizing is impossible. His voice was very low, like pleading. Wanqing, I'm begging you, change the terms. How much do you want? Say it. I don't want money. Then what do you want? I want justice. Lu Tingshan slammed his fist on the table. The teacup jumped, fell to the floor and shattered into pieces. Fair, his voice shot up. Su Wanqing, who do you think you are? You're just a drafter. Do you think your lousy designs are worth anything? Without me, Lu Tingshan, you'd still be. Still what? I stood up, hands pressing on the table, facing him. Still being nominated for the Pritzker, still making China's best commercial spaces. Lu Tingshan, aren't you getting it backwards? Without me, Su Wanqing, your deep blue technology headquarters would still be an empty lot. Lu Tingshan's face flushed crimson, his lips trembled. You, what did I say? I looked him in the eye. Lu Tingshan, I'll give you one more chance. 3 things, will you do them or not? He gritted his teeth, the muscles in his cheeks bulging and then hollowing. I won't, he said. Do whatever you want. He turned and walked out. When he reached the door, he suddenly stopped and looked back at me. Su Wanqing, you'll regret this. No, I said, you're the one who regrets it. He slammed the door and left. I sat down and took a deep breath. My phone lit up. Lin Wei sent a message. Song Zai gave an interview to Financial Weekly, saying your design was copied from hers. The piece will be published tomorrow morning. I glanced at the time, for in the afternoon. 3 hours left before I see Jiu Huarian. I opened the drawer and took out a USB drive. Inside was all the evidence I had gathered over the past 2 years, the surveillance footage of Lu Tingshan stealing the design plans, the call recordings between him and Song Zai, and Shunlan Technologies' anomalous financial reports. Those things were supposed to be saved for last, but now Song Zai made the first move. She thought she could nail me to the pillar of shame for plagiarism with a forged manuscript. She didn't know that what I had in my hands was enough to send both her and Lu Tingshan into the abyss. The phone rang, an unfamiliar number. I picked up. Su Wanqing. A woman's voice came through on the other end, soft, with a hint of crying. I'm Song Zai, can we talk? About what? About Tingshan, about the design proposal. I know you misunderstood. Those things aren't what you think. Miss Song, I haven't misunderstood anything. Then why won't you see me? Are you scared? I laughed. Why should I be scared? Because the evidence in your hands is all fake. I paused for 2 seconds. Miss Song, you say the evidence I have is fake, then how do you know what evidence I have? There was silence on the other end of the line. Miss Song, if you had nothing to hide, you wouldn't know what I have in my hands. The reason you know is because Lu Tingshan told you. He told you I have surveillance footage, recordings, and financial data. So you panicked, you were afraid those things were real. I didn't. You did. I cut her off. You had Hua Zheng authenticate it, forged the manuscript, bribed the appraisal experts. When you were doing those things, did you ever think about the consequences? Su Wanqing, you don't understand the situation. I understand, I said. Miss Song, let me give you some advice. From now on, every sentence you speak could become evidence in court, so you'd better think carefully before you open your mouth. I hung up the phone. 7:00 p.m. Kunlun Hotel. Jiu Huarian arrived 10 minutes earlier than I did. He sat in the private room, wearing a dark blue suit, his hair neatly combed. He looked under 40, but the world weariness in his eyes told me he was 10 times harder to deal with than Lu Tingshan. Miss Su, I've long heard of you. He stood up and extended his hand. I shook his hand. Mr. Jiu, thank you for taking the time. Miss Su, you're too polite. He motioned for me to sit. You came to see me about Lu Tingshan. Yes, I sat down and got straight to the point. I know you're shorting deep blue tech stock overseas. I also know you have a grudge with Lu Tingshan. I want to work with you. Jiu Huaiyan lifted his teacup, took a sip and smiled. Miss Su, on what basis do you think I would cooperate with you? Because I have what you want. What is it? The financial irregularities report of Deep Blue Technologies, evidence that Lu Tingshan plagiarized the design plan, the complete call recordings between him and Song Zai. I looked into his eyes. These things can make Deep Blue Technologies stock drop another 30%. Gu Huayan put down his teacup and the look in his eyes changed as he looked at me. Miss Su, what would you like? 2 things. I held up 2 fingers. First, you fund my lawsuit. Second, after Deep Blue Tech goes bankrupt, I want my design plan copyright back. Is that all? That's it. Gu Huayan was silent for a few seconds, then he smiled. Miss Su, you're more interesting than I imagined. He held out his hand. Pleasure doing business with you. I took his hand in mine. Pleasure doing business. As we left the Kunlun Hotel, Lin Wei called, Wanqing, this is big. Song Zai has released photos of their original manuscript and they're going viral online. The industry association's phones are being smashed. They're all calls demanding your nomination be revoked. Let them spread it. I got in the car and closed the door. The wider it spreads, the better. Why? Because the wider it spreads, the more stunning the reversal will be. I started the car and drove into the night. In the rearview mirror, the lights of the Kunlun Hotel grew farther away. Ahead of me awaited a grand performance I had been preparing for 2 years. Lu Tingshan, Song Zai, are you ready? The next morning at 7, I was woken by Lin Wei's call. Wanqing, look at the news. The interview by Financial Weekly has been published. The headline is renowned designer Su Wanqing suspected of plagiarism. Pritzker nomination may be revoked. I unlocked my phone. The story was already 3rd on the trending list. The article quoted Song Zai's original words. Su Wanqing's Yunqi design scheme completely plagiarized my original manuscript. I completed the concept design for this scheme 2 years ago and I have the manuscript to prove it. As a well-known designer, Su Wanqing doing something like this is very disappointing. Below the article were 4 photos of the so-called original manuscript. The sketches were drawn in pencil, with fluid lines and detailed annotations. The paper was yellowed, and it did indeed look like something from 2 years ago, but I knew it was fake because the core design concept of Yunqi, the wave-folded structure of the building facade, was something I thought of 3 years ago when I went on a study trip to Japan. That day I was in a cafe in Tokyo watching the rain outside, the water running down the glass and forming irregular ripples. I drew a sketch on a napkin right then. That napkin is still locked in the safe in my studio. The phone rang again. This time it was the Industry Association. Teacher Su, hello. I'm Xiao Ju from the association's secretariat regarding MS Song Zai's report accusing you of plagiarism. The association requires you to submit a written defense by 5:00 p.m. today. I understand. I will submit the materials on time. One more thing, the association's review committee has decided to temporarily freeze your Pritzker nomination until the plagiarism investigation results come out. I tightened my grip on the phone. Who decided that? The review committee. Show me the meeting minutes. Teacher Su, this isn't convenient to make public. Then have the chair of the review committee give me a call. I hung up the phone at 8 o'clock. When I arrived at the company, a dozen or so reporters were gathered at the entrance. Flashbulbs popped and crackled and microphones were shoved in front of me. Teacher Su, how do you respond to the plagiarism allegations? Teacher Su, did you really plagiarize Song Zai's work? Teacher Su, has your Pritzker nomination been revoked? I stopped in my tracks and faced the camera. First, I did not plagiarize. Second, I will present all the evidence in court. Third, I will pursue legal action against those who spread rumors. After I finished speaking, I pushed past the reporters and went into the building. In the elevator, Lin Wei showed me today's public opinion report. On Weibo, the topic Su Wanqing plagiarized had already surpassed 200 million views, and the comment section was full of insults. Wanqing, someone steering the narrative. Lin Wei handed me her phone. These accounts are all paid trolls. Their copy is exactly the same. Su Wanqing is shameless, plagiarizes others' work and plays innocent. Who bought it? Found it. The IP came from a PR company, and that company collaborates with Song Zai's legal team. I snorted. Let her buy. The more she buys, the more she spends. At the office, I turned on my computer and began organizing the defense materials. All the draft files, timestamps, and revision records totaled over 300 files. I arranged them chronologically. The earliest date was 3 years and 4 months ago, exactly 1 year and 4 months earlier than Song Zai's manuscript. Burn all of these onto discs in triplicate, 1 copy for the association, 1 for the court and 1 to keep on file. Okay, Lin Wei took the USB drive. There's one more thing. Lu Tingshan's side has put out a statement saying your design proposal is a work for hire, and the copyright belongs to Deep Blue Technology. My fingers paused on the keyboard. Work for hire, yes. They say your design was completed under Lu Tingshan's guidance and is company property. They also produced a so-called work for hire confirmation bearing your signature. The signature is forged, I know, but they've already submitted it to the trade association. I take a deep breath. Lu Tingshan, you really outdid yourself. Not content with stealing, you have to turn it back on the victim. Help me contact a lawyer. I want to sue Lu Tingshan for forging my signature. Okay. Also, Lin Wei hesitated. Jiu Huiyan sent word. He says he wants to see you again. When? 2 this afternoon. Okay. 2:00 p.m. Jiu Huiyan's office. This time it wasn't a restaurant but the headquarters of Dingshan Capital. The whole floor's decor was minimalist to the point of coldness, black, white, and grey tones, with a few abstract paintings hanging on the walls. Jiu Huiyan sat behind the desk, the screen in front of him displaying the stock price chart for Deep Blue Technology. Miss Su, sit. He motioned for me to sit. Did you see the news? I did. Lu Tingshan and Song Zai played that hand very well. A public opinion campaign, a legal battle, a business offensive, three-pronged. He paused. But you don't seem worried at all. Why should I be? Because your reputation is being destroyed. Your Pritzker nomination has been frozen. Your clients are starting to terminate their contracts with you. Your company is at risk of collapse. Mr. Jiu, did you forget something? What is it? My reputation, my nomination, my clients. These things were all earned through my work. As long as my work is real, none of those things can be destroyed. Jiu Huiyan looked at me, was silent for a few seconds, then smiled. Miss Su, I am growing more fond of you. He stood up, walked to the window, his back to me. I found a new piece of news that you might be interested in. What news? Song Zai's original manuscript wasn't made by her. She hired someone named Liu Jiuan to forge it. This Liu Jiuan specializes in antiquities forgery, well known in the circle. He received a 50,000 transfer 3 months ago. The sender account was a company account named Deep Blue Technology. I stood up. Do you have evidence? Jiu Huiyan turned around and placed a USB drive on the table, the transfer records and Liu Jiuan's recorded confession. When my people found him, he kept denying it at first, but after he saw the transfer records he confessed everything. I picked up the USB drive. Mr. Jiu, why are you helping me? I'm not helping you, Jiu Huiyan said. I'm helping myself. For every point Deep Blue Tech stock drops I make 20 million. What you have can make me at least 500 million. So this is a business deal, right? He held out his hand. Just business. I shook his hand. Back at the company I had Lin Wei back up everything on the USB drive. Wanqing, what do we do now? Put this out there. No rush. I sat down. Wait until they've used every trick they have, then we'll hit back all at once. Wait until when? Until the court hearing. The phone rang. This time it was Lu Tingshan. Su Wanqing, have you made up your mind? Made up my mind about what? Withdraw all your accusations. I'll give you 20 million. You sign and leave. We end this with dignity. Lu Tingshan, did you hear the news? What news? The matter of Song Zai hiring someone to forge manuscripts. I've already got the evidence. There was a 3-second silence on the other end of the phone. You're talking nonsense. I'm not lying. Liu Jiuan, you know him, right? 3 months ago, Deep Blue Technology transferred him 500,000. Do you want me to send you the transfer record to look at? Rapid breathing came from the other end of the line. Su Wanqing, you, Lu Tingshan, I'm giving you one last chance. 3 things. Will you do them or not? I can't make a public apology. Then see you in court. I hung up the phone. Lin Wei stood at the door, her face pale. Wanqing, there's trouble again. What is it? Lu Tingshan has applied to the court for property preservation and frozen all the bank accounts and real estate under your name. I froze. What reason? He said you were transferring marital joint assets. The court has already approved it. I clenched my fists. Lu Tingshan, you're really ruthless. Wanqing, do you still have money in your bank card? Nothing left. I sat down. All the money has been frozen. What do we do then? Lawyer fees, company operating costs, the employees' salaries. Don't worry. I opened my phone and pulled up Jiu Huiyan's WeChat. Jiu Huiyan said he would fund my lawsuit. I sent Jiu Huiyan a message. My account has been frozen. I need funds. 3 minutes later, Jiu Huiyan replied with a message. Send me the account number. Is transferring 5 million enough for now? I stared at the numbers on the screen and took a deep breath. That's enough. I sent the account number. 5 minutes later, my phone received a bank text message. 5 million deposited. Lin Wei widened her eyes. He turned so quickly, didn't even make an IOU. He's a businessman, I said. He did the math, investing 5 million in me. He can make 500 million. This deal, you'd take it too. At 4 in the afternoon I went to the court with the lawyer and filed an objection to the asset preservation order. The lawyer's surname was Fang. He was recommended by Gu Huarian, specialized in intellectual property cases, and ranked among the top 3 in the industry. MS Su, the asset preservation issue isn't a big problem. We can apply to unfreeze it within 3 days, but the plagiarism case is more complicated. Lawyer Fang flipped through the materials. Song Zai's side seems to have solid evidence. If we can't prove her manuscript was forged, the judge might be inclined to side with her. I can prove it. I took a sealed bag from my purse. Inside was a napkin. This is the original sketch I made 3 years ago. It has the date, my signature, and witnesses who were present at the time. Lawyer Fang took the sealed bag, glanced at it, and his eyes lit up. MS Su. This napkin is the trump card. I know, but I won't use it now. Why? Because I'm going to wait for Song Zai to submit all the fake evidence to the court once she nails herself to the charge of perjury. I'll pull out this napkin. Lawyer Fang looked at me, was silent for a few seconds, then smiled. Teacher Su, you're more ruthless than I imagined. It's not that I'm ruthless, I said. They forced me. By the time I walked out of the courthouse it was already dark. I stood on the steps watching the traffic across the street. My phone buzzed. Lin Wei's message. Song Zai just posted on Weibo saying the truth will never be covered up. The comments are all cursing you. I switched off my phone and got in the car. The truth will never be covered up, well said, but the truth will be defined by me. For the next 3 days, I hardly left the office. Lu Tingshan and Song Zai's assaults came in waves. Song Zai posted a Weibo every day, each one hinting that I was a chronic plagiarist. Lu Tingshan was even harsher. He contacted 3 of my former clients and got them to come forward to say I had plagiarized others' work. 2 of the 3 clients refused, but one, named Wang Zhongwo, took Lu Tingshan's 5 million and publicly said in the media that Su Wanqing's design proposal does indeed have suspicions of plagiarism. Wang Zhongwo was my client 5 years ago. The commercial complex project I did for him earned him at least 200 million. Now for 5 million, he comes out to bite me. Lin Wei trembled with anger. This scumbag, if it weren't for your design back then, would his project have taken off? Don't be angry. I opened my laptop and pulled up the project files from 5 years ago. I kept all the communication records, meeting minutes, and approval letters. Every version has his signed confirmation. Wanqing, do you keep evidence of everything? In this industry, not keeping evidence is asking for trouble. I printed Wang Zhongwo's signed confirmation, took a photo of it, and posted a Weibo. Mr. Wang Zhongwo, you say I plagiarized, then please explain why every version of the proposal bears your signature of approval. See the attached image for the signed confirmation. 10 minutes later, Wang Zhongwo's call came through. Teacher Su, it's a misunderstanding. Mr. Wang, there's no misunderstanding. You took 5 million from Lu Tingshan and came out to bite me. It's fine, I understand, but you need to think clearly about how much I have in my hands. Teacher Su, please don't. President Wang, I'll give you 2 choices. First, you apologize publicly and retract those words. Second, I'll make all the communication records and signed confirmation letters public so your clients can see how you treat your partners. Your choice. I apologize. An hour later, Wang Zhongwo posted a Weibo regarding Teacher Su Wanqing's plagiarism. I remembered wrong. Teacher Su's proposal has no plagiarism issues. I withdraw my previous statements. The comment section exploded. Some people cursed Wang Zhongwo as a fair-weather friend, and some began to suspect whether Song Zai's accusations also had issues. But Song Zai quickly dropped another piece of intel, the high-resolution scan of her so-called original manuscript, dated 2 years ago, 8 months earlier than my proposal. Public opinion shifted back to her side. Lin Wei looked at her phone, her face pale. Wanqing, her manuscript is dated 2 years ago, while your proposal started 3 years ago. But your process draft has no date stamp, only the computer file's creation time. If she claims your file times were tampered with, the judge might accept that. So we need a third-party appraisal. We already had Huazheng do an appraisal, but Huazheng has ties to Song Zai, not Huazheng. I opened the drawer and took out an envelope. It was the Chinese Academy of Sciences appraisal. I sent it over 3 days ago. Lin Wei widened her eyes. When did you send it? The day Song Zai released the manuscript photos. You had expected it. Not expected, prepared. I put the envelope away. In this industry you never know who will bite you, so always stay 3 steps ahead of everyone else. At 2 in the afternoon, Gu Huarian arrived at the company. He brought someone with him, his legal director surnamed Sun, in his early 40s, wearing glasses and looking refined, but reportedly the total value of the cases he handled exceeded 20 billion. Miss Su, Director Sun has reviewed your case. Gu Huarian sat down. There are a few issues we need to confirm with you. Please go ahead. Mr. Sun opened his laptop and pulled up a file. First issue, the matter of a work for hire. That work for hire confirmation Lu Tingxian submitted to the court. You say the signature was forged? Yes. Do you have signature samples? Yes, I kept copies of all the contracts and agreements I signed before I got married. My signature habits are completely different from the one on that confirmation. I can get a handwriting expert to produce a report. Good. Second issue, the asset preservation. The court has already received your objection. The freeze is expected to be lifted next week. The third question. Mr. Sun paused and looked at me. The third question and the most crucial. President Gu wants to confirm one thing. How far are you willing to go? What do you mean? I mean, if you just want to get back the copyright to your design and receive the divorce compensation, what we're doing now is enough. But if you want Lu Tingxian to be completely finished, Mr. Sun pushed up his glasses, then we'll need more. I looked at Gu Huarian. Gu Huarian leaned back in his chair, his expression calm. Miss Su, I won't hide it from you. I'm investing in you not just to help you win the lawsuit. What I want is Deep Blue technology. I want its technology, its patents, its market. If you can help me secure those, you name the terms. Mr. Gu, Deep Blue Technology's core technology has nothing to do with my design proposal. It does, Gu Huarian said. Deep Blue Technology's core technology, the Intelligent Building Management System, was introduced to Lu Tingxian through your connections. The original patent holder for that technology is your college classmate named Chen Mo. My hand rested on the tabletop. How do you know? I did the homework, Gu Huarian said. 2 years ago Chen Mo licensed the patent to Deep Blue Technology for a licensing fee of 30 million plus a 5% equity stake. But as far as I know, Chen Mo has recently been suing Lu Tingxian because Lu Tingxian has never paid the equity dividends. So you want me to contact Chen Mo? Yes, if Chen Mo is willing to terminate the contract with Deep Blue Technology and transfer the patent license to me, I can offer him better terms, and your design, Yunqi, just happens to need this technology. Your plan combined with Chen Mo's technology would be a perfect match. I was silent for a few seconds. Mr. Gu, you're using me. Yes, Gu Huaiyan did not deny it. But I didn't lie to you. I said this was a business. You are part of the business, but you are also a beneficiary of it. I looked at him and he looked at me. All right, I reached out my hand. Deal. Gu Huaiyan squeezed my hand. It's a deal. After he left, I picked up my phone and scrolled to Chen Mo's number. Chen Mo was a college classmate of mine. We studied together in the Department of Architecture at Tsinghua. He later changed fields and went into smart building technology, becoming one of the top experts in that area 2 years ago. I introduced him to Lu Tingxian and helped Deep Blue Tech secure the core technology for their intelligent building management system. That was the first thing Lu Tingxian asked me to do. He said, "Wanqing, introduce your classmate to me. I won't mistreat him." I believed him. Then he mistreated Chen Mo. Over 2 years, the more than 30 million in dividends Chen Mo was owed, Lu Tingxian only paid less than 5 million. Chen Mo went to talk to him several times, and each time he brushed him off. Hello. The call connected and Chen Mo's voice sounded a little weary. Chen Mo, it's me, Su Wanqing. Wanqing. His voice changed at once. Are you okay? I saw the news. What those people said is utter nonsense. I've seen your proposal. You were already working on it 3 years ago. How could it possibly be plagiarism? Thank you, Chen Mo. I called you because I wanted to ask you something. What is it? How is your lawsuit against Lu Tingxian going? There was a long silence on the other end of the line. Not good. He finally spoke. Lu Tingxian hired a very powerful legal team and has been dragging things out. I'm almost out of money. If there were an opportunity for you to terminate the contract with Lu Tingxian and transfer the patent license to someone else, would you be willing? Who? Dingxian Capital. Gu Huaiyan. Chen Mo fell silent again. Wanqing, that Gu Huaiyan. I know he's not a good person either, but at least he keeps his word better than Lu Tingxian. Let me think. Don't think about it too long. Opportunities won't wait. All right. I'll give you an answer tomorrow. After hanging up, I leaned back in my chair and closed my eyes. Lin Wei pushed the door open and came in. Wanqing, Song Zai has made a move again. She's suing you for copyright infringement and demanding 50 million in compensation. The court has already filed the case. I open my eyes. 50 million. Song Zai really dares to ask. What did the lawyer say? Lawyer Fang said this case will be consolidated with the plagiarism suit. The trial is scheduled for the 15th of next month. That's a month away. Yes, Lawyer Fang said we need to prepare all the evidence within this month. He also said. Lin Wei hesitated. He said the lawyer Song Zai hired is the best intellectual property lawyer in the field, charging 8,000 per hour. Who? Zhao, do you know him? I do. Zhao is the person in this industry I least want to deal with. He has won more than 20 intellectual property cases, never a defeat. What does Lawyer Fang say? Is he confident? Lin Wei looked at me and said nothing. To be honest, Lawyer Fang said that if our evidence holds up, we've got about a 70% chance of winning, but if Song Zai pulls some stunt in court. What kind of stunt? For example, bribing an expert witness. I stood up and walked to the window. Check for me, who's the appraisal expert Song Zai found. I already checked. His name is Liu Guodong, the chief expert at Huazheng Appraisal Center. Liu Guodong. I repeated the name. What's his reputation in the industry? Not very good. Some people in the industry say he takes money to get things done, but no one has concrete proof. Then go find the concrete proof. How? Check his bank account. Look at his transfer records for the past 6 months. If he took money from Song Zai, there will definitely be traces. Lin Wei hesitated. Wanqing, checking someone's bank account is illegal. No need for us to check. Let Jiyu Huan do it. He has the ability. Lin Wei nodded and went out. I stood by the window watching the traffic downstairs. 1 month, 30 days. During these 30 days, Lu Tingshan and Song Zai will do everything they can to destroy me. They have money, lawyers, a PR team, and paid netizens. But I have the truth. The truth is the most valuable thing in this world. It is worth more than Lu Tingshan's 8 billion valuation and more than Song Zai's 50 million compensation. Because the truth can put people in prison. A week later, Chen Mo gave me a reply. Wanqing, I agree to cooperate with Jiyu Huan, but there is one condition. What condition? I want to ensure my patent will not be abused. Jiyu Huan must provide a written commitment that he will not use this technology to do illegal or improper things. This condition is negotiable. There is one more condition. Chen Mo paused. You must personally do the application design for this technology. Yuancha plan combined with my technology is the complete work. I wouldn't trust anyone else with it. I was silent for 2 seconds. Fine, I agree. After hanging up, I sent Jiyu Huiyan a message. Chen Mo agreed. The condition is that he wants a written promise that you won't abuse his technology. Jiyu Huiyan replied immediately. Okay, have the lawyer draft an agreement tomorrow. The second matter has also been settled. Jiyu Huiyan's team found Liu Guodong's transfer records 3 months ago. Song Zai's legal team, through a shell company, transferred 800,000 to Liu Guodong. The note read consultation fee. The consultation fee is 800,000. Liu Guodong's monthly salary is only 20,000. Wanqing, is this enough? Lin Wei printed out the transfer records and showed them to me. Not enough, this is just a transfer record, it doesn't prove a bribe. Liu Guodong can say it was a legitimate consulting fee. What should we do then? Find Liu Guodong himself. 2 days later, I met Liu Guodong in a hotel's cafe. He was in his early 50s, his hair graying, wearing a pair of gold-rimmed glasses, looking like a university professor, but his eyes flitted uneasily, avoiding direct contact with mine. Mr. Liu, hello. I sat across from him. I'm Su Wanqing. I know. His voice was very low. What do you want to see me about? I want to talk to you about the appraisal work Song Zai commissioned you to do. Liu Guodong's expression changed. That was a routine appraisal. I signed a confidentiality agreement. I can't disclose it. Mr. Liu, I understand. But there's one thing I need to tell you. I took a sheet of paper from my bag and set it on the table. This is the transfer record showing the 800,000 consultation fee you received 3 months ago. The sender is a shell company controlled by Song Zai's legal team. Liu Guodong went pale. How did you find out? That doesn't matter. What matters is, if you issue an expert report in court that's adverse to me, this transfer record will become court evidence. Then you'll face not only professional sanctions but also criminal liability, perjury, punishable by up to 7 years. Liu Guodong's hands were trembling. Mr. Liu, I'm not here to threaten you. I folded the paper back up. I'm here to give you a choice. What choice? Present the appraisal report. Truthfully in court, Song Zai's manuscript is a forgery, write that as it is. As for that 800,000, I'll pretend I don't know, and if I refuse, then be prepared to go to prison. Liu Guodong was silent for a long time. Fine, I'll agree to you. Words alone don't count. I took an agreement out of my bag. Please sign here. Promise to present an honest appraisal report in court. Liu Guodong looked at the agreement, his hands shaking even more. Teacher Su, do you know that Song Zai? She won't let me go. Teacher Liu, Song Zai will soon no longer have the ability to spare anyone. Liu Guodong signed his name. I put the agreement away and stood up. Teacher Liu, thank you. Walking out of the hotel, Lin Wei was waiting for me in the car. All set, all set. What's next? Wait for the hearing. For the next 2 weeks, I spent every day in the office preparing materials for the hearing. Lawyer Fang gave me a checklist, more than a dozen items to prepare: design process drafts, timestamp proofs, witness statements, appraisal reports, expert opinions sheets. Calculating economic losses, each item had to be flawless, because Lu Tingshan and Song Zai's legal team would do everything they could to find loopholes. 3 days before the trial, Song Zai released another bombshell. She posted a video on Weibo. In it she sat in a studio and cried to the camera, "I only want justice." Su Wanqing plagiarized my work, yet she turned it around and accused me of forging the manuscript. How can an ordinary person like me possibly fight against a big designer who has that kind of capital backing? An hour after the video was posted, shares had already exceeded 100,000. In the comments section, 80% of the people were cursing me out. Su Wanqing, have you no shame? Copycat dog, get out of the design circle. Support Zai sisters' rights. Lin Wei looked at the comments and angrily threw her phone. These people don't know anything and are just insulting. Song Zai's acting is way too fake. Don't be angry. I opened my laptop. The more she does this, the more passive she'll be in court. Why? Because she's waging a public opinion campaign outside the courtroom. It means she lacks confidence inside the courtroom. If her evidence were really that solid, she wouldn't need to do this. Lin Wei thought for a moment and nodded. Wanqing, there's one more thing. Lu Tingshan's side submitted a new piece of evidence to the court. What evidence? An email screenshot. It's the email you sent to Song Zai 2 years ago in which you wrote, "Your manuscript was very inspiring. I borrowed some elements." The email is forged, I know, but lawyer Fang said that if Song Zai's side can provide the mail server records, the judge might accept them. Let them provide them. And if they really do provide them, then we'll have a third-party agency authenticate the email's authenticity. If the email is forged, Song Zai will have an additional charge, fabricating evidence. The night before the hearing, lawyer Fang called me. Teacher Su, I have bad news. Speak. Song Zai's side has switched the forensic expert. They've replaced Liu Guodong. What is it? Guodong Liu submitted an application to the court this afternoon, claiming a stake in this case and requesting recusal. The court approved it. Song Zai's side has replaced the expert with a new one, named Zhu Mingyuan. I gripped my phone hard. Who is Zhu Mingyuan? An expert from the Chinese Academy of Sciences, well regarded in the field, but the problem is, Zhu Mingyuan is Lu Tingshan's university classmate. Are you saying Zhu Mingyuan might have been bought? I'm not sure, but we need to be prepared if Zhu Mingyuan's appraisal turns out to be unfavorable to you. We must challenge his neutrality in court on the spot. Okay, got it. After hanging up, I sat on the bed and took a deep breath. Lu Tingshan, you really will stop at nothing. Change the appraisal expert. Fine, you replace one, I'll hit another. The phone rang again. This time it was Jiu Huarian. Miss Su, for tomorrow's hearing I've arranged a team of reporters at the courthouse entrance. When you come out, many journalists will be interviewing you. Are you ready? I'm ready. Remember what I told you, don't get agitated, don't insult anyone, don't cry, you only need to say one sentence, the truth will be revealed in court. Okay, there's one more thing. Jiu Huarian paused. Lu Tingshan will appear in court in person tomorrow. I stared for a moment. He'll come himself. Yes, he might want to confront you in court. Then let him come. I hung up the phone, turned off the light and closed my eyes. Tomorrow everything will become clear. The next morning at 8:30, I arrived at the courthouse gate. Sure enough, more than 30 reporters were gathered at the entrance, 3 times as many as last time. Flashbulbs were popping, and microphones were thrust in front of me. Teacher Su, what are your expectations for today's hearing? Teacher Sue, have you plagiarized Song Zai's works? Teacher Sue, if you lose the lawsuit, will you exit the design circle? I stopped in my tracks and faced the camera. The truth is in court. After speaking, I pushed past the reporters and entered the courthouse. The courtroom was full. In the gallery sat family members from both sides, legal teams, reporters, and dozens of onlookers. Lu Tingshan sat in the gallery behind the plaintiff's bench, wearing a dark blue suit and with his hair immaculately combed. When he saw me come in, the corners of his mouth tilted up slightly, his eyes full of smugness. Song Zai sat at the plaintiff's bench, dressed in a white suit with delicate makeup, looking pitiable. Her lawyer Zhao Ming sat beside her, organizing documents. I sat in the defendant's seat. Lawyer Fang sat beside me. The judge tapped the gavel. Court is now in session. Zhao Ming spoke first. His voice was loud and his pace rapid, as if delivering a speech. Honorable Judge, my client Ms. Song Zai is a well-known Chinese architectural designer. 2 years ago she completed the conceptual design for the Yunqi scheme with manuscripts as evidence. The defendant Ms. Su Wanqing began creating a Yunqi scheme a year ago, and its core design concepts are highly similar to the plaintiff's manuscript. We have reason to believe the defendant plagiarized the plaintiff's work. After Zhao Ming finished speaking, he submitted a stack of materials to the judge: scans of Song Zai's original manuscript, an authentication report, and email screenshots. The judge leafed through the documents and looked at Lawyer Fang. Does the defense have anything to say? Lawyer Fang stood up unhurried. Your Honor, the defendant Ms. Su Wanqing began creating the Yunqi project 3 years ago. We have the original sketches as evidence: a napkin sketch made in Tokyo, Japan 3 years ago bearing a date, a signature, and a witness. Lawyer Fang handed the sealed bag to the judge. The judge opened the sealed bag, took out the napkin, and looked at it for a few seconds. The date on this sketch is 3 years ago. Yes, Your Honor, the date is 3 years and 4 months ago, exactly 1 year and 4 months earlier than the plaintiff's manuscript. Whispers began to spread through the gallery. Zhao Ming's expression changed. Judge, the date on this napkin could be forged. Lawyer Zhao. Lawyer Fang interrupted him. You say my evidence could be forged, so does that mean your evidence can't be forged? Our manuscript has an appraisal report. The identification report of your side comes from Huazheng Forensic Center and the expert is Liu Guodong, but Mr. Liu Guodong has already recused himself due to conflicts of interest. Moreover, we have evidence that before issuing the identification report, Mr. Liu Guodong received a consulting fee of 1 million yuan from the plaintiff. The spectators' seats exploded in an uproar. Zhao Ming's face turned pale. Judge, this is slander. It's not slander. Attorney Fang took a transfer record from her bag and handed it to the judge. This is banking records from 3 months ago showing that the plaintiff's legal team, through a shell company, transferred 800,000 yuan to Mr. Liu Guodong. The note reads consulting fee. Tell me, Lawyer Zhao, what kind of consulting fee would be 800,000? The courtroom was so quiet that the buzzing of the air conditioner could be heard. The judge looked at the transfer record, his brows furrowed tightly. Plaintiff, please explain this transfer. Sweat began to form on Zhao Ming's forehead. Your Honor, this is a normal expert consultation fee. 800,000 for an expert consultation fee. The judge's voice grew colder. Lawyer Zhao, are you sure? Zhao Ming opened his mouth, unable to speak. Song Zai's expression changed. She tugged at Zhao Ming's sleeve and whispered something. Zhao Ming took a deep breath. Your Honor, we request a recess to allow time to verify this transfer. Recess for half an hour. The judge tapped the gavel. During the recess, I sat on a bench in the corridor. Lawyer Fang sat beside me, flipping through the documents. Teacher Su, that last move worked well. The judge is already suspicious of Song Zai's evidence. Not enough yet, I said. Lu Tingshan hasn't made his move. Sure enough, when court resumed, Zhao Ming changed tactics. Your Honor, we acknowledge that Mr. Liu Guodong's appraisal report has procedural issues. However, we have replaced the appraisal expert, Professor Zhu Mingyuan of the Chinese Academy of Sciences. Professor Zhu's appraisal report has been completed and the conclusion is the defendant's Yunqi plan bears substantial similarity to the plaintiff's manuscript. Zhao Ming handed Professor Zhu Mingyuan's appraisal report to the judge. Lawyer Fang took the report, flipped through a few pages and sneered. Your Honor, Professor Zhu Mingyuan is indeed an expert from the Chinese Academy of Sciences, But there is one matter I must make clear to the court. Professor Zhu Mingyuan was a university classmate of Mr. Lu Tingshan, who is a witness for the plaintiff Ms. Song Zai. The two were classmates at Tsinghua University for 4 years and have kept in close contact since graduation. Zhao Ming's expression changed again. Judge, a classmate's relationship cannot prove. Of course not, lawyer Fang said. But before Professor Zhu Mingyuan issued this appraisal report, he had 7 phone calls with Mr. Lu Tingshan, each lasting more than 20 minutes. Tell me, lawyer Zhao, is it normal for an expert appraiser to have frequent phone calls with a party related to the case before issuing a report? The gallery erupted again. Lu Tingshan's face went pale. He sprang to his feet. Judge, the reason I called Zhu Mingyuan was because, plaintiff, sit down. The judge rapped his gavel. This is a courtroom, not a place for you to speak. Lu Tingshan gritted his teeth and sat down. Lawyer Fang continued, Your Honor, we request the court permit an independent appraisal of the plaintiff's manuscript by an expert we have retained. The expert we have engaged is Professor Li Mingyuan of the China Academy of Building Research, an authority recognized in the field. Granted, the judge said. Once the appraisal results are in, we will schedule the next hearing. The judge tapped the gavel. Court is adjourned. The next hearing date will be announced separately. As they walked out of the courtroom, reporters swarmed around again. Teacher Su, how did today's hearing go? Teacher Su, is there a problem with Song Zai's evidence? I faced the camera and said the same words. The truth will be revealed in court. After getting into the car, Lin Wei waited for me in the driver's seat. Wanqing, that was amazing just now. Song Zai looked so pale. It's not over yet, I said. Zhu Mingyuan's expert report is the key. If his report goes against me, we must find the flaws in it before the next hearing. Isn't lawyer Fang saying Zhu Mingyuan and Lu Tingshan are classmates? Being classmates isn't enough, we need stronger evidence. The phone rang. It was Jiyu Huyan. Miss Su, your performance today was excellent, but I'll tell you one piece of news, the Zhu Mingyuan isn't bought. He's being threatened. What do you mean? Zhu Mingyuan's son works at Lu Tingshan's company. Lu Tingshan is using the son's job to blackmail him, forcing him to issue an evaluation report that's unfavorable to you. I tightened my grip on my phone. Is there evidence? Yes, Zhu Mingyuan's wife recorded it. She secretly recorded the call between Zhu Mingyuan and Lu Tingshan. In the recording, Lu Tingshan says, Does your son still want to keep working at Deep Blue Tech? Send me the recording. It's been sent. I hung up, opened WeChat, and received an audio file sent by Jiyu Huarian. When I played it, Lu Tingshan's voice was as sharp as a knife. Professor Zhu, does your son still want to keep working at Deep Blue Technologies? I'm telling you, if you don't write this report correctly, your son will be unemployed tomorrow. Do what you think is best. I turn off the recording and take a deep breath. Wanqing, is this recording enough? Lin Wei asks. It's enough, I say. This recording will force Zhu Mingyuan to recant publicly in court. Then what do we do now? Go find Zhu Mingyuan. An hour later, I met Zhu Mingyuan in the CS office building. He was in his early 60s, his hair graying, deep wrinkles on his face, and his eyes full of exhaustion and fear. Professor Zhu, hello. I sat across from him. I'm Su Wanqing. I knew you'd come. His voice was low. What do you want me to do? I want you to tell the truth in court. If I tell the truth, my son will lose his job, Professor Zhu. Lu Tingshan's company will cease to exist very soon. Zhu Mingyuan looked up at me. What did you say? I said that Deep Blue Technology will soon go bankrupt. Lu Tingshan will be sentenced. Your son's job at Deep Blue Technology won't be safe sooner or later. But if you tell the truth in court, I can help your son find a new job. On what basis? On the basis of my partner, Dingshan Capital. After Dingshan Capital acquires Deep Blue Technology, they'll need a large number of technical staff. Your son's specialty is intelligent buildings, which is a perfect fit. Zhu Mingyuan was silent for a long time. Fine, I'll agree to you. Words aren't proof. I took out my phone. Professor Zhu, I need you to make a call to Lu Tingshan right in front of me and tell him you will not issue a false report. Zhu Mingyuan's hand was shaking. He picked up the phone and dialed Lu Tingshan's number. Boss Lu, I'm Zhu Mingyuan. I can't do what you said. I must write the appraisal report truthfully. Lu Tingshan's roar came through the phone, audible even through the device. Zhu Mingyuan, are you insane? Do you still want your son to keep working? Mr. Lu, about my son, I'll handle it myself, but I can't fake the autopsy report. Zhu Mingyuan hung up and slumped against the back of his chair as if utterly drained. Professor Zhu, thank you. I stood up. I'll take care of your son's situation. After leaving the Chinese Academy of Sciences, Lin Wei waited for me in the car. All set, all set. Where's Lu Tingshan on this? He's about to lose it. The phone rang. It was Lawyer Fang. Ms. Su, the court has notified us. The next hearing is set for next Friday. Alright, by then all the evidence will be ready. 5 days before the trial, I received an unexpected phone call. Su Wanqing, I'm Ju Mingyuan's son Ju Hao. Hello, my father told me about you. I want to tell you something. Lu Tingshan didn't just threaten my father. He has a list in his hands filled with experts, officials, and journalists he has threatened. I have seen that list. My hand froze in midair. You saw it? Yes, on Lu Tingshan's computer there is an encrypted folder that contains all the records of his bribery, threats, and blackmail. I have the password. How did you get the password? I've peeked at him entering his password. He's my boss and I have plenty of chances to get close to his computer. I was silent for 3 seconds. Ju Hao, do you know what you're saying? I know, my dad said you'd help me arrange a new job. I trust you, but it's not just about the job. Lu Tingshan has done too many terrible things. I want him to be punished. Can you get hold of that folder? He can, but it will take time. His computer is at the company headquarters and the security is tight. I need to find the right opportunity. How long? 3 days. Fine, in 3 days. Whether you've gotten it or not, give me an update. After hanging up, I sat in the office, my heart racing. Lu Tingshan's criminal record, bribery, threats, extortion, money laundering. If Ju Hao really managed to get those things, Lu Tingshan would be finished, completely finished. 3 days later, Ju Hao called. Got it. Where are you? Downstairs at the company. I didn't dare go up. Lu Tingshan discovered the computer had been tampered with. Don't move from where you are. I'll send someone to pick you up. I called Jiu Huarian. President Jiu, I need a favor. Send someone to meet a person downstairs at Shunlan Technology headquarters. He has evidence of Lu Tingshan's crimes. What kind of person? Ju Mingyuan's son. He copied a file from Lu Tingshan's computer. There was a 2-second silence on the other end of the line. I'll send someone right away. 20 minutes later, Jiu Huan's men picked up Ju Hao and brought him to my office. Ju Hao was 27 or 28, wore glasses, and looked very scholarly, but his face was pale and his hands were trembling. Sister Su, here's the USB drive. He placed a USB drive on the desk. The folder password is Shenlan at 2023. I plugged the USB drive into the computer, entered the password, and opened the folder. There were over 100 files inside. I opened the first one. It was a record of bribery. Over the past 3 years, Lu Tingshan had bribed 7 government officials, with the total amount exceeding 20 million. The methods of bribery included cash, shopping cards, overseas trips, and expenses for children studying abroad. The second file, a record of threats. Ju Mingyuan was only one of them. Lu Tingshan had used the same tactics to threaten at least a dozen people, including experts, reporters, and employees of competitors. The third file, a record of money laundering. The foreign accounts of Shunlan Technology had transferred at least 800 million to offshore accounts over the past 3 years. Recipients included Song Zai's company, Song Zai's brother's company, and several shell companies. I shut the computer and took a deep breath. Ju Hao, are you willing to testify about these things in court? Ju Hao clenched his teeth. Aren't you afraid of Lu Tingshan taking revenge on you? I am, but I'm even more afraid of him continuing to do bad things. I nodded. Alright, from today on you'll stay in the place arranged by Mr. Jiu, and his people will be responsible for your safety until the case is closed. Okay. Ju Hao was taken away by Jiu Huan's men. Lin Wei looked at me. Wenqing, are these things enough? Enough, I said. These things are enough to keep Lu Tingshan in prison for over 10 years. And what about Song Zai? Let Jiu Huan handle Song Zai's matter. Her brother, Song Zhixing, is shorting Deep Blue Technologies stock. That's illegal. Jiu Huan has evidence, so Song Zai will be arrested too. If she was involved in money laundering, yes. Lin Wei took a deep breath. Wanqing, it's almost over. Not yet. I stood up. We'll see the truth in court. On the day of the hearing, the courtroom was packed. Lu Tingshan sat in the gallery, his face ashen. He clearly already knew about Ju Hao. His legal team arrived today with very tense expressions. Song Zai sat in the plaintiff's seat, her makeup still exquisite, but the confidence in her eyes was gone. The judge tapped the gavel. Court is now in session. First, please have forensic expert Professor Ju Mingyuan present his appraisal opinion. Ju Mingyuan stood up and took a deep breath. Your Honor, after my independent appraisal, the original manuscript provided by plaintiff Ms. Song Zai is forged, although the paper of the manuscript has been artificially aged. Chemical analysis of the ink shows it was produced 3 months ago. The date notation on the manuscript was also added afterwards. The gallery erupted. Song Zai's face was as white as paper. Zhao Ming sprang to his feet. Judge, Professor Zhu Mingyuan's expert opinion is inconsistent with the previous report. Counselor Zhao, the judge said coldly, looking at him. Professor Zhu is an expert from the Chinese Academy of Sciences. His appraisal carries legal weight. If your side objects, you may apply for a re-examination, but until then this court accepts Professor Zhu's appraisal. Zhao Ming opened his mouth, then sat back down. Lawyer Fang stood up. Your Honor, we have one more piece of evidence to submit. What evidence? Lawyer Fang handed the USB drive to the judge. This was collected by the defendant Ms. Su Wanqing, and concerns evidence that Mr. Lu Tingshan, a person related to this case, committed bribery, threats, and money laundering. The evidence includes bribery records, threat recordings, offshore account statements, and so on. We request that the court transfer these materials to the public security authorities for handling. The judge took the USB drive, plugged it into the computer and looked for a few seconds, his expression growing increasingly grave. Court is adjourned. The judge tapped the gavel. This court has decided to hand these pieces of evidence over to the Economic Crime Investigation Unit of the Public Security Bureau, until the public security authorities complete their investigation. This case will be suspended. The bailiff walked up to Lu Tingshan. Mr. Lu Tingshan, please cooperate with the investigation. Lu Tingshan's face turned completely pale. He shot to his feet and pointed in my direction. Su Wanqing, you ruined me. The bailiff held him by the shoulder. Please calm down. Did I ruin you? I stood up and looked at him. Lu Tingshan, you ruined yourself. Lu Tingshan was taken away by the bailiffs. Song Zai sat in the plaintiff's seat, trembling all over. Her lawyer Zhao Ming had already packed up his things and was ready to leave. Miss Song, I stepped up to her. Your lawyer is trying to run. Zhao Ming's footsteps faltered for a moment, then quickened as he walked out of the courtroom without looking back. Song Zai looked at me, her lips trembling. Su Wanqing, please. Please me for what? Please let me go. Miss Song, I don't have the power to let you go. The public security organs will investigate your involvement in money laundering. If you didn't do it, no one can wrongfully accuse you. If you did, I paused. Then you must bear the consequences. I turned and walked out of the courtroom. At the courthouse entrance, reporters swarmed around me. This time I didn't say, the truth will be revealed in court. I stood on the steps, facing the camera. The truth is out. I did not plagiarize anyone. Song Zai's original manuscript was forged. Lu Tingshan has been taken away by the public security authorities for investigation on suspicion of bribery, coercion, and money laundering. The reporters' flashbulbs popped and crackled. Teacher Su, what are your plans now? Mr. Su, will your Pritzker nomination eligibility be restored? Mr. Su, will you forgive Lu Tingshan? I looked into the camera and smiled. Forgive, that's God's business. My business is taking back what belongs to me. After Lu Tingshan was taken away, I thought things would be over quickly, but I was wrong. 3 days later, I received a message. Lu Tingshan had someone at the detention center pass along a word to me. He said he had leverage on me and could get me thrown in prison too. What leverage? Lawyer Fang asked me. I don't know, I said. But I have no leverage. Teacher Su, are you sure? Lu Tingshan is very devious. He might have set a trap when you weren't paying attention. I thought carefully. I married him 2 years ago. All the contracts, agreements, and documents were reviewed by my lawyer. Every asset, project, and income under my name is clear and accounted for. I haven't done anything illegal, I'm sure. But Lu Tingshan still made a move. A week later, Lawyer Fang called me. Ms. Su, Lu Tingshan's lawyer submitted a report to the procuratorate, saying that a project you worked on 2 years ago involved irregular operations. What project? The Yuncha project in Hangzhou. Lu Tingshan said that when you were obtaining the project approval, you bribed an official at the planning bureau. My hand froze in midair. What official? A man named Wang Wei, former deputy director of the Hangzhou Municipal Planning Bureau. He was arrested last year for taking bribes. Lu Tingshan says you obtained the approval through Wang Wei. I didn't bribe anyone. I don't even know Wang Wei. But Lu Tingshan had evidence, a transfer record showing your company account transferred 500,000 to a company called Hangzhou Huacheng Consulting 2.5 years ago. The actual controller of that company is a relative of Wang Wei. I opened my computer and pulled up the financial records from 2.5 years ago. That 500,000 transfer did indeed exist, but it wasn't a bribe, it was a normal consulting fee. The Yunqi project needed planning consultation, and I commissioned a company called Huacheng Consulting to do it. The company is a legitimate planning consultancy. I selected it through a public tender. Attorney Fang, this money was a lawful consulting fee. I have the contract, the invoice, and the tender records. I know, but Lu Tingshan said the actual controller of Huacheng Consulting is Wang Wei's brother-in-law. They want to prove that this 500,000 was a kickback Wang Wei got for securing the approval. Who is Wang Wei's brother-in-law? His name is Li Qiong, the legal representative of Huacheng Consulting. Have I met Li Qiong? No. The contract was signed by your project manager. He was also responsible for the bidding. I take a deep breath. Lu Tingshan, you really are something. You set up this trap 2 years ago. You had me use Huacheng Consulting for the planning consultation because you knew Huacheng Consulting had ties to Wang Wei. From the very beginning you were preparing this handle. Lawyer Fang, I need to see Lu Tingshan at the detention center. I can arrange that for you. 2 days later, I met Lu Tingshan in the detention center's interview room. He wore an orange prison uniform, his beard unkempt, his eyes hollow, looking 10 years older, but when he saw me the corners of his mouth still curled upward. Su Wanqing, you're here. Lu Tingshan, the Huacheng Consulting matter. Did you arrange it? What Huacheng Consulting? I don't know what you're talking about. 2 years ago you asked me to use Huacheng Consulting for the Yunqi project's planning consultation because you knew Huacheng Consulting had ties to Wang Wei. You set this up from the very beginning. Lu Tingshan laughed, a laugh that was very unpleasant. Su Wanqing, you say I set this up. Do you have any evidence? I do, I have the call records between you and Li Qiong, the boss of Huacheng Consulting. You called Li Qiong a week ago and asked him to help you fabricate testimony. Lu Tingshan's smile froze on his face. How do you know? Because Li Qiong's phone was being monitored by me. Lu Tingshan went pale. How dare you monitor his phone? On the charge of suspected bribery, I handed Li Qiong's information to the Public Security Bureau. They are investigating. If Li Qiong, during the investigation, testifies that you instructed him to perjure himself, Lu Tingshan, you'll have another charge added. Lu Tingshan sprang to his feet. The handcuffs slammed against the table with a grating sound. Su Wanqing, you, sit down. The guard beside him pressed a hand to his shoulder. Lu Tingshan slowly sat down, gasping. Lu Tingshan, you think you can threaten me with the Huacheng Consulting matter? Let me tell you, I have copies of all the bidding documents, contracts, and invoices for that project. My project manager can testify in court to prove we awarded the bid to Huacheng Consulting through an open tender. We didn't bribe anyone, and there was no need to, because the approvals for the Yunqi project were obtained legally and compliantly, and every step of the approval process is documented. Lu Tingshan's lips trembled. Your last card is gone. I stood up, ready to leave. Su Wanqing, he called after me, his voice hoarse as if he were crying. You were calculating against me from the start, weren't you? I turned and looked at him. Lu Tingshan, when I married you, I truly wanted to spend my life with you were the one who plotted against me first. You stole my design proposal. You betrayed me with your white moonlight behind my back. You forged my signature. You bribed experts to falsify evidence. When you were doing those things, did you ever think about this day? Lu Tingshan lowered his head, his shoulders shaking. Now you want to threaten me with the matters of Huacheng Consulting, but you haven't understood one thing. I paused. Lu Tingshan, you say I have leverage, but my leverage is something you handed to me with your own hands, because you let me use Huacheng Consulting. You handed me the knife yourself and then said this knife could hurt me. Don't you find that funny? Lu Tingshan lifted his head, his eyes red, his lips trembling, unable to utter a single word. Lu Tingshan, your era is over. I turned and walked out of the meeting room. The sunlight outside stabbed at my eyes. Lin Wei was waiting for me in the car. Wanqing, how did it go? His last card is gone too. What about the Huacheng Consulting matter? I've already handed all the materials over to the Procuratorate. They'll investigate, but I didn't do anything wrong, so there's nothing to be afraid of. Lin Wei let out a sigh of relief. What happens next? Wait. After waiting a week, the results came out. The Procurator's investigation concluded that Su Wanqing did not engage in bribery. The planning and approval process for the Yunqi project was lawful and compliant, and the 500,000 from Hua Cheng Consulting was a normal consulting fee with a contract, invoices, and bidding records as evidence. Lu Tingshan's report was rejected. Not only that, during the investigation into Hua Cheng Consulting, the Procuratorate found that Li Qiong was indeed involved in bribery, but not bribing Wang Wei. He had bribed another official. Li Qiong was arrested. During interrogation, Li Qiong named Lu Tingshan. 2 years earlier, Lu Tingshan had approached Li Qiong asking him to take on the planning consultancy for the Yunqi project at a low price, on the condition that Li Qiong would provide false testimony for Lu Tingshan if necessary. Another charge was added against Lu Tingshan, instigating perjury. When the news reached Song Ziyi, she was completely thrown into a panic. Her lawyer Zhao Ming had already terminated their contract. Her original manuscript was authenticated as a forgery. The Public Security Bureau had obtained evidence of her involvement in money laundering. Her brother Song Zhixing was under investigation for shorting Deep Blue Technologies stock. She had nowhere left to turn. 3 days later, Song Ziyi's brother, Song Zhixing, came to see me. "Miss Su, I'd like to talk to you." Song Zhixing sat across from me in his early 40s, suited and booted, but the shrewdness in his eyes did indeed bear some resemblance to Lu Tingshan. "About what?" "About my sister." "Your sister's matters are none of my concern. Her involvement in money laundering is being investigated by the public security authorities." "Miss Su, let's be straightforward." Song Zhixing leaned back in his chair. "I know you have evidence that my sister was involved in money laundering. I also know you handed that evidence to the public security authorities, but I want to make a deal with you." "What kind of deal?" "I'll help you completely take down Lu Tingshan. I have more evidence of his crimes, complete records of his money laundering abroad, a detailed list of his bribes, recordings of him threatening witnesses. This stuff is enough to put him behind bars for more than 15 years. And the condition is you let my sister go, you withdraw the charges against her for participating in money laundering." I looked at Song Zhixing and was silent for a few seconds. "Mr. Song, your sister's involvement in money laundering is not an accusation from me. It was found by the public security organ during its investigation of Deep Blue Technologies' overseas accounts. I don't have the power to retract it." "Ms. Su, you know what I'm talking about." Song Zhixing's voice grew cold. "If you don't help me, the things I have won't be given to you." "Mr. Song, are you mistaken about one thing?" I stood up. "I don't need what you have. The public security organ has already uncovered most of Lu Tingshan's crimes. It's only a matter of time before he's imprisoned. What you have is merely icing on the cake. But if you don't hand it over, that's shielding a criminal, the crime of obstruction, punishable by up to 10 years. Song Zhixing's expression changed. "You're threatening me." "Not a threat, a reminder." I picked up my phone. "Mr. Song, if you cooperate with the public security investigation and voluntarily hand over evidence of Lu Tingshan's crimes, I can explain your cooperative attitude to the judge. That will help your sentencing." Song Zhixing stayed silent for a long time. "Fine, I'll hand it over. There is one more thing," I said. "Regarding your sister, I am not in a position to interfere, but if she confesses voluntarily, returns the stolen goods, and cooperates with the investigation, the judge will consider a lighter sentence. You should persuade her to confess, rather than come to me for a deal." Song Zhixing stood up, his face ashen. "Su Wanqing, you're ruthless." "Not that I'm ruthless," I said. "It's you who have gone too far." Song Zhixing left. Lin Wei came out from the next room. "Wanqing, you really won't help Song Ziyi. Why should I help someone who wants to ruin me? But if Song Ziyi is sentenced, then she deserves it." I sat down. "Lin Wei, Song Ziyi forged manuscripts, bribed experts, and spread rumors in the media. She wants to ruin my reputation. If I didn't have evidence in my hands, the person in jail right now would be me." Lin Wei nodded. "You're right. But I'm not refusing to give her a chance." I opened my phone. "I'll send her a message urging her to turn herself in." I typed a message to Song Ziyi. "Miss Song, I know you're very scared right now, but I urge you to turn yourself in voluntarily, return the stolen goods, confess and cooperate with the investigation. This is your only way out." Song Ziyi did not reply. 3 hours later, Lin Wei rushed into my office. "Wanqing, Song Ziyi has turned herself in." "What is it?" She went to the police station and voluntarily confessed to participating in money laundering. She also confessed that Lu Tingshan ordered her to forge the manuscript. I leaned back in my chair and let out a long sigh. She finally understood. 2 months later, Lu Tingshan's case went to trial. This time it wasn't an intellectual property case but a criminal one. The charges included bribery, money laundering, witness intimidation, instigating perjury and embezzlement. 5 crimes punished cumulatively. The courtroom was packed. Reporters, industry people, and onlookers filled the gallery to overflowing. Lu Tingshan stood in the defendant's dock wearing a prison uniform, handcuffed, his hair closely cropped, looking noticeably thinner. His legal team had been replaced, his previous lawyers had already withdrawn from the case. Song Zai stood at the other defendant's dock, charged with money laundering and perjury. She kept her head down, not daring to look at anyone. The prosecutor rose and began to present the facts of the case. The defendant Lu Tingshan, between 2019 and 2023, transferred funds totaling 830 million renminbi through overseas accounts, of which 470 million involved money laundering. The defendant Lu Tingshan also bribed 7 government officials, totaling 23 million. In addition, the defendant Lu Tingshan threatened 12 witnesses, including forensic expert Zhu Mingyuan and former employee Zhu Hao, coercing them to provide false testimony or remain silent. After the prosecutor finished speaking, the courtroom was so quiet that you could hear the sound of breathing. The judge looked at Lu Tingshan. Defendant Lu Tingshan, do you have anything to say about the charges? Lu Tingshan raised his head and looked toward the public gallery. His gaze swept across the crowd and finally landed on me. I didn't do anything wrong, he said, his voice hoarse. That money was part of normal business operations. I didn't know about any bribery. It was done by my subordinates. The prosecutor scoffed. Defendant Lu Tingshan, you say you didn't know about the bribery. How do you explain this bribery plan bearing your own signature? The prosecutor produced a document and handed it to the judge. Lu Tingshan's face went pale. And this recording, the prosecutor pressed play and Lu Tingshan's voice filled the courtroom. To give director Wang 50,000 yuan, withdrawn from the company account, with the remark consulting fee. The recording finished playing. Lu Tingshan's lawyer opened his mouth but could not utter a word. Defendant Lu Tingshan, do you have anything else to say? The judge asked. Lu Tingshan lowered his head and remained silent for a long time. I plead guilty. Someone in the gallery drew a sharp breath. The judge tapped the gavel. Defendant Lu Tingshan has shown a relatively good attitude in pleading guilty, but in view of the severity of the case and its adverse social impact, this court will pronounce sentence at a later date. Next is Song Zai's case. Song Zai stood in the defendant's dock, trembling all over. Her lawyer, a young woman, looked even more nervous than she did. The prosecutor presented the case. Defendant Song Zai participated in Deep Blue Technologies' money laundering activities, assisting in transferring funds totaling 120 million. In addition, defendant Song Zai forged a manuscript and falsely accused Su Waning of plagiarism, suspected of perjury. Defendant Song Zai, do you have anything to say about the charges? Song Zai raised her head, her eyes rimmed in red. I plead guilty, but I want to say one thing. She turned toward the gallery and looked at me. Su Wanqing, I'm sorry. The courtroom fell silent. I've done many wrong things. I forged manuscripts. I falsely accused you. I helped Lu Tingshan launder money. I did these things because I hated you. I hated that you married Lu Tingshan. I hated that you were living better than me. But now I know everything I did wrong was my choice. It had nothing to do with anyone else. After she finished speaking, she lowered her head and cried. I look at her tears without any feeling. It's not that my heart is hard, it's that she cried too late. If she had spoken the truth when I was being roasted online as a plagiarism dog, I would have been moved. If she had stepped forward to stop when Lu Tingshan sent people to follow me, I would have been grateful. But she didn't. She chooses to say I'm sorry only when she's desperate. This kind of sorry isn't an apology, it's a plea for mercy. The judge tapped the gavel. The defendant Song Zai has shown a relatively good attitude in pleading guilty and has a circumstance of turning herself in. This court will exercise leniency in sentencing. The verdict will be pronounced on a later date. After the trial ended, I was surrounded by reporters at the courthouse entrance. Teacher Su, Lu Tingshan has pleaded guilty. Do you have anything to say? Teacher Su, Song Zai has apologized to you. Do you accept it? I stood on the steps facing the camera. The law will render a fair verdict. As for the apology, I paused. If an apology were enough, what would we need the law for? The reporters were stunned. I turned and walked away. 1 month later, the court delivered its verdict: Lu Tingxian, guilty of bribery, money laundering, threatening witnesses, instigating perjury, and embezzlement of duties, multiple offenses punished cumulatively, sentenced to 12 years in prison, and fined 50 million yuan. The illegal gains are to be confiscated. Song Zai, guilty of money laundering and perjury, in light of his surrender and his attitude in admitting guilt, sentenced to 3 years in prison with 4 years of suspended sentence and fined 5 million yuan. On the day of the verdict, I did not go to the court. I stood outside the Deep Blue Technology headquarters building, looking at the building I had designed with my own hands, 28 stories tall. The facade was my wavefold structure, inspired by the rain outside the cafe window in Tokyo. This building used to be Lu Tingxian's pride, his calling card to hustle investors and clients. Now, this building was going to be auctioned off. Jiu Huiyan stood beside me. Miss Su, the market valuation for this building is 2 billion. I plan to bid on it. What happened after you photographed it? Change the name and keep using it. The building you designed is worth preserving. I said nothing. Miss Su, there's something I've wanted to ask you. Jiu Huiyan turned to look at me. Did you really marry Lu Tingxian for love? I was silent for a few seconds. Mr. Jiu, you want to know the truth, of course. I took an ID badge out of my bag and handed it to him. The badge read, China Architects Association Rights Protection Committee, Special Investigator Su Wanqing. Jiu Huiyan stared at the work ID and froze. Before I married Lu Tingxian, I already knew he was a fraud, I said. The association had 3 designers whose works he had plagiarized, but because there was no evidence, they couldn't win against him. The association approached me and asked me to investigate. So you married him too? It was a mission. I spent 2 years gathering all the evidence of his plagiarism, bribery, and money laundering. If Song Zai hadn't suddenly returned to the country and disrupted my plans, I probably would have waited a bit longer. Jiu Huiyan looked at me. His expression complicated. Miss Su, you sacrificed 2 years of marriage for this assignment. No, I said, I didn't sacrifice 2 years of marriage. I spent 2 years to restore clarity to the whole industry. Lu Tingxian has fallen. The designers whose work he plagiarized can reclaim their creations. Those he threatened can work in peace. The officials he bribed will be held accountable. Is it worth it? I looked at Deep Blue Technologies building, then looked up at the sky. It's worth it. 3 months later, Deep Blue Technology went into bankruptcy liquidation, and all assets were auctioned off. Jiu Huiyan's Dingsheng Capital purchased Deep Blue Technology's headquarters building and core technology patents for 980 million yuan. Chen Mo's patent license was transferred to Dingsheng Capital on the condition that in all projects using this technology, Chen Mo must be credited as the original patent holder. My Yunqi plan was restarted and put into implementation by Jinga Design. Chen Mo's technology combined with my design became the most watched project in the industry. My Pritzker nomination eligibility was reinstated. The chair of the review committee personally called to apologize. Teacher Su, the earlier matter was our work error. It's all right, I said. What matters is that the truth has come out. After Song Zai was given a suspended sentence, she left Beijing. It was said she went to a small southern town and opened a flower shop. No one knew she had once been the victim who cried on Weibo about being plagiarized. Lu Tingxian is serving his sentence in prison. After he was jailed, 3 more designers came forward accusing him of plagiarism. With these new accusations added, his prison term may be extended. After Lu Ting was sent to prison, Zhao Yufan moved out of the Lu family villa. The villa was sealed by the court and used to compensate the investors' losses. She now lives in an ordinary residential complex in Shurani, living off her pension. It is said she often complains to the neighbors in the complex that the daughter-in-law is inhuman, but no one pays her any mind. As for me, I once again became the helmsman of Jinga Design. The company's revenue this year increased by 40% compared with last year. My design fees have risen to the highest level in the industry, and my schedule is booked through the year after next. Jiu Huiyan became the company's second-largest shareholder, holding 20%. He never interfered with the company's operations and only showed up once a year at the shareholders' meeting. Miss Su, your company is running very well. I don't need to worry about it, he said at the shareholders' meeting. All I need to do is collect the money. All the shareholders in the room laughed. I smiled too. But I was very clear in my heart. Gu Huarian invested in me not because of my character, but because I could help him make money. He is a businessman and so am I. Our cooperation is clean, transparent, and mutually beneficial. This is much simpler than marriage. At the end of the story, I want to say one thing. Someone asked me, Su Wanqing, do you regret marrying Lu Tingshan? I said, no, I don't regret it, because if not for this marriage, I would never have known how evil people's hearts can be. I wouldn't have known a woman could, for the sake of a man, fabricate evidence, bribe experts, and spread lies in the media. I wouldn't have known a man could, for money, commit plagiarism, offer bribes, launder money, and threaten witnesses. But more importantly, if it weren't for this marriage, I wouldn't have known that when a woman is plunged into the abyss, she can climb out by her own strength. I didn't rely on anyone. I gathered the evidence myself, found my own lawyer, and planned my counterattack on my own. Gu Huaiyan is an ally, not a savior. Chen Mo is a friend, not a straw to clutch at for life. I relied on myself because in this world the only one who can save you is yourself. The end.